Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercy I see. All I have needed, thy hands have provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Hello and welcome to our series based on the Old Testament book of Ruth. In this series, I am reading the 4 chapters of Ruth over 5 days. I'll be inserting a bit of commentary, and as you'd expect from me, I'll be posing a question or two along the way. So, Ruth, chapter 2. Now Naomi had a relative on her husband's side, a man of standing from the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favour." Naomi said to her, "Go ahead, my daughter." So she went out, entered a field and began to glean behind the harvesters. As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. Just then Boaz arrived from Bethlehem and greeted the harvesters. "The Lord be with you." "The Lord bless you," they answered. Boaz asked the overseer of his harvesters, "Who does that young woman belong to?" The overseer replied, "She's the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi." She said, "Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters." She came into the field and has remained here from morning till now, except for a short rest in the shelter. So upon arriving back in Bethlehem, Ruth tells Naomi that she will go to the nearby barley fields to gather some of the barley that has been left behind after the workers have harvested it. Leaving grain to be gleaned in this way was a form of charity commanded in the Old Testament. I'll come to this later. But it so happened that the owner of this field was a chap called Boaz, who was a male relative of Naomi's late husband, Elimelech. In the narrative, Boaz notices Ruth, and perhaps taking a bit of a shine to her, he inquires who she is. A servant of Boaz explains to him that Ruth is from Moab, but she has moved to Judah and is now clearly seeking to support both herself and her mother-in-law Naomi, the servant highlighting Ruth's work ethic. How important is a strong work ethic to you? We read on. So Boaz said to Ruth, "My daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you, and whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." At this she bowed down with her face to the ground. She asked him, "Why have I found such favour in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner?" Boaz replied, "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. How you left your father and mother and homeland and came to live for people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge. May I continue to find favour in your eyes, my Lord," she said. "You have put me at ease by speaking kindly to your servant, though I do not have the standing of one of your servants." At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come over here, have some bread and dip it in the wine vinegar." When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted and had some left over. As she got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his men. Let her gather among the sheaves and don't reprimand her. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up, and don't rebuke her. So, Boaz speaks to Ruth and reassures her that she can glean in his fields as much as she likes. He seems to go out of his way to reassure Ruth, a foreigner looking to work to support her family, that in his fields she can feel both welcomed and safe. What do you make of that? He also speaks of his faith, telling Ruth that he hopes that God will look after her and bless her for her actions. Boaz also instructs his workers to deliberately leave a little extra for her, and at mealtime invites Ruth to come and eat with him and his team. We read on. So Ruth gleaned in the field until evening. Then she threshed the barley she had gathered, and it amounted to about an ephah. An ephah was a dry measurement believed to be somewhere between 18 and 22 litres. She carried it back to town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gathered. Ruth also brought out and gave her what she had left over after she had eaten enough. Her mother-in-law asked her, "Where did you glean today? Where did you work? Blessed be the man who took notice of you." Then Ruth told her mother-in-law about the one at whose place she had been working. "The name of the man I worked with today is Boaz," she said. "The Lord bless him," Naomi said to her daughter-in-law. "He has not stopped showing kindness to the living and the dead," she added. "That man is our close relative. He is one of our guardian redeemers." Then Ruth the Moabite said, "He even said to me, 'Stay with my workers until they finish harvesting all my grain.'" Naomi said to Ruth, her daughter-in-law, "It will be good for you, my daughter, to go with the women who work for him, because in someone else's field you might be harmed." So Ruth stayed close to the women of Boaz to glean until the barley and wheat harvests were finished, and she lived with her mother-in-law. So Ruth returns home with a whole load of barley, and Naomi, noting this, asks Ruth how come. Ruth tells Naomi that she's been gleaning in the field of somebody called Boaz, and Naomi, recognising the name, informs Ruth that Boaz is a relative and a kinsman redeemer. According to laws found in various sections of the first 5 books of the Bible, a kinsman redeemer had the responsibility to act on behalf of a relative who was in trouble, danger, or need. And this was not the only provision for those who were poor or in trouble found within the Old Testament laws. Writing about the ancient Hebrew practice of gleaning in fields, the Houston-based writer and businessman Chris Gow states this. The gleaning laws in the Old Testament are more than ancient agricultural practices. They're a profound call to justice through shared responsibility. In Leviticus 19, 9-10 and Deuteronomy 24, 19-21, God commands farmers to leave the edges of their fields unharvested so the poor, widows, orphans and foreigners could gather food. This wasn't a suggestion, it was a legal expectation. Unlike modern charity, which is voluntary and occasional, gleaning was a built-in system of provision that addressed the community's collective welfare. These laws institutionalised generosity, prioritising communal well-being over individual profit. They upheld the dignity of the poor by involving them in the harvest, enabling self-support rather than dependence on handouts. This framework emphasised shared resources, communal care, and a society where every individual's well-being mattered. So a few questions to conclude our reflection on today's chapter. What responsibility, if any, do you think people should take towards extended family members in times of need or trouble? What do you make of this ancient practice of leaving crops to be gleaned by those that were struggling? And what could some modern equivalents of that look like?
Is thy faithfulness, oh God, my Father? There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fade not. As thou hast been, thou forever